We've all gotten pretty used to chatbots. They're awesome for answering a quick question or summing up a long article. But the next big jump in AI, it's not just about chatting anymore. It's about doing. We're shifting from these passive language models to active, intelligent agents that can actually interact with the world. And today, we're going to look at a new framework that's designed to build exactly that. So yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? AI can chat. What's next on the horizon? Well, the answer is agency. It's the difference between an AI just talking about a task and an AI that can actually go out, grab the tools it needs, and get the job done. That's the evolution that's happening right now. Okay, so let's get on the same page with a quick definition. When we say an LLM-based agent, what are we talking about? We're talking about an AI that can reason through a problem, act on its conclusions by using digital tools, and actually interact with its environment to finish complex, multi-step jobs. It's like having a digital assistant that doesn't just give you a plan, but actually carries it out for you. To really get a handle on how this works, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big challenges in building these agents. Then we'll introduce a new framework called AgentScope, break down its core components, its building blocks, see what these agents can do in the real world, and finally, look at how this whole system helps developers turn an idea into a reality. All right, first up, the AI Agent Challenge. Because let's be real, as amazing as this all sounds, actually building one of these things is, well, it's really, really hard. It's often a chaotic and super complex process. You see, for developers, this is a huge headache. You're trying to build an agent, and right away you're juggling all these different APIs from OpenAI, Google, Anthropic. Then you have to figure out memory. How do you make sure the agent doesn't forget what it was doing halfway through a task? Plus, you have to connect it to outside tools, like a web browser or a database. And to top it all off, there's just been no standard way to make all these pieces work together reliably. And that right there brings us to the solution we're looking at today, AgentScope. It's a new framework that was designed specifically to tame all that complexity and bring some much-needed order to the chaos of building AI agents. This quote from their research paper really hits the nail on the head. That phrase, developer-centric, is so important. It means they're thinking about the whole process, from writing the first bit of code all the way to debugging and deploying the final product. That's been a massive pain point. And flexible and efficient tool-based agent environment interactions, that's just a fancy way of saying they've made it way easier for an agent to actually use tools and interact with the digital world. So let's pop the hood and take a look at the core building blocks of AgentScope. Honestly, the best way to think about these is like Legos. They're these simple, standardized pieces that you can just snap together to build almost any kind of agent you can dream up. The first and most basic Lego block is the message. Everything that happens within AgentScope, and I mean everything, is treated as a message. A user's command, an agent's internal thought, the output from a tool, it's all neatly packaged in this one universal format. This keeps all the communication between all the parts super clean and consistent. Next up, we've got the model block, and this one directly tackles that API juggling problem we just talked about. This is a single unified interface that lets a developer plug into a whole range of different large language models without having to rewrite their code every single time they want to switch. And just look at the compatibility here. It gives developers incredible freedom. You've got support for all the big names, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, and you can even use open source models through Allama. What this really means is you can pick the absolute best brain for your agent without being locked into one company's ecosystem. The third block is memory, and this is absolutely critical. I mean, an agent without memory is pretty much useless for any task that takes more than one step. AgentScope gives you components for both short-term memory, which is like remembering what we're talking about right now, and long-term memory, which lets an agent store information and recall it later even in a totally different conversation. And finally, the tool block. This is how the agent actually gets its hands dirty and does things. It's a standard way to register any function, API, or service you can think of, from a simple calculator to a full-on web browser, and make it available for the agent to use whenever it needs to. So how do all these Lego blocks work together? Well, most agents in this framework use a simple but really powerful process called the React paradigm. It's just a loop. First, the agent reasons. It thinks about the goal and plans its next move. Then it acts, using a tool to go and execute that move. And finally, it observes the results, updates its understanding of the situation, and then starts the loop all over again. Think, do, check. Okay, so we've got the building blocks. We've seen how the brain works. Now let's get to the fun part. What can you actually build with AgentScope? What does this look like in action? Well, the cool thing is, the framework comes with some seriously powerful agents right out of the box. For instance, there's a deep research agent that can take a complex topic, go search multiple sources online, and then synthesize all of that into a detailed report. Or you've got the browser use agent, which can literally take control of a web browser to go click around on websites, fill out forms, and pull out information. And then, for the really big, hairy, complex problems, there's something called the meta planner. Think of this thing as the boss agent. It's like a project manager. It takes a huge goal, breaks it down into a step-by-step plan, and then it actually creates and assigns all those little subtasks to other more specialized worker agents to get the job done. This is where you start to see entire workflows getting automated. Now here's a really crucial point. AgentScope isn't just a library of code that you download. It's a complete ecosystem. It's designed to support a developer through the entire lifecycle, from that very first idea all the way to a real, live, deployed application. And that ecosystem comes with some amazing toolkits. There's an evaluation module, so you can actually test if your agent is any good. There's a Visual Studio, where you can literally watch your agent think and work in real time, which is huge for debugging. You get a secure sandbox to run the agent's tools safely, and they even built in a little AI assistant named Friday to help you out and answer questions while you're building. So if you boil this all down, what's the big takeaway? AgentScope is so much more than just another AI library. It's a standardized, flexible, and genuinely powerful workbench. It gives developers the structure they desperately need to avoid all that chaos and the tools they need to build the next generation of truly intelligent, action-taking AI applications. And all of this leads to a pretty fascinating final question. When you have frameworks like AgentScope making it easier, faster, and more reliable to build these capable autonomous agents that can handle research, fill out forms, and write reports, you really have to wonder, is our next coworker going to be an AI agent? Definitely something to think about.